Welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Focus TV. Joined by Octavia Wyatt, we got Cardo Dudley Jr., Wilson Tucker Jr. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 38. Got quite a bit to get through tonight. NFC East Segment. We'll be checking in with Ray, who's at the SA for Mystics Aces. Cardell's going to let you guys know what's happening with the Kennel League. Closer. I think the playoffs have already begun. DC United, Wayne Rooney was officially on the sideline for his first game. And, in true Rooney fashion, I'll let you guys know how things ended. If you're an Orlando fan, go ahead and, find something else to watch when we get to that part of the show. Got 9-4-50 breakdown once again, and we'll end with some rapid fire. But first off, just want to, once again, I know everyone heard the news this past weekend. We lost a very, very great man in Bill Russell this past weekend. Did a lot during his time with us. We all know what he accomplished on the court, but his work off the court could even put a price on it. A lot of folks today, a lot of players, a lot of folks in general, for the work that he's put in. A lot of things would be a little bit different without those sacrifices by him and several of his contemporaries during that time. Octavia, we'll start with you and then Ray, and then Cardell. Sorry, just your thoughts on Bill Russell before we get things started tonight.
Yeah, when I heard the news, it was definitely kind of heartbreaking because, Bill is he's a pioneer of the game, not just on the court, but off the court, all of the activism and things that he's done for the sport, for Black players. Sometimes I don't think it gets talked about enough outside of all of his accomplishments. 11 championships, first coach player and being able to, be as great as he was, with all of the things he had to go through during those times, especially playing in Boston at that. You think about how difficult it is to play in Boston nowadays, just times 100 back in those days, so for him to actually continue to play at a high level during those times. And I feel like eventually winning them over, because how can you not love Bill Russell? He's an icon and he'll be definitely missed. I was definitely sad to see it. He's definitely one of those players that I wish I was alive to see live. I wish I was alive to see his games, see him play I'm so fortunate that we have YouTube nowadays, but it would have been amazing to see him play back in the day. We talk about the GOATs and Mount Rushmores and all of those things. He's there. There is no Mount Rushmore without Bill Russell. We talk about how many rings people have won. Nobody, he has more rings than fingers at this point. So it's just ridiculous, that just how great he was, So he's definitely missed. As soon as I saw it, I actually really got sad because I felt like the last time we really saw him was during NBA, during All-Star Weekend, at least publicly All-Star Weekend, and just seeing him. And I always just feel like, the older that I'm getting, those stars, of course, are getting older and older. I think I heard something where they were talking about Bob Cousy had actually said that, Bill Russell beat him to the punch, feeling I think he's almost 90 or 94 or something like that. So those stars, from back in the day are sadly going to be leaving us soon. So I hate to say that we always, have to give them their flowers after they're gone. I hope that we continue to talk about him going forward. They named the MVP trophy after Bill Russell. That tells everything that you need to know. So he'll definitely be missed, and definitely a big loss for the game.
You and me. Like Octavia said, pioneer, ambassador. Michael Jordan is the greatest player, but even he has to defer to Bill Russell when all the greats come together and all that. They all look to him, you know what I mean? Because he's literally was the pioneer from pretty much the beginning, to now. And, he's one of the guys when when the corny stuff come out, when they be trying to dismiss their error and stuff like that, he's definitely one of the guys I'm like, dog, he ain't no damn plumber or fireman or whatever corny logic term y'all want to get from social media. He can play in any area. And the thing I hate about him, they dismiss him because he ain't average 30 when his gift was the defensive end. And I'm like, nah, he just played at a cerebral level that the majority of people in basketball can't understand. You know what I mean? He summed that up with a great quote I love between, he was talking about Red Auerbach came to him his rookie year and was like, man, look, I don't know what you're doing, so I really can't coach you. I don't understand what you're doing. But you're the best player in basketball. Bill Russell was like, I know that. And I knew that when I got here. And he was just like, look, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm not going to get in the way of it because it's working. So continue to do what you do. And it's as simple as that. It's funny how the great coaches keep things simple. When all these other coaches are like, nah, man, don't do that, man. How about you step out, let that man work. Y'all winning. Like, it's nothing to correct. Until they find a way to mess it up, then he got to adjust fine. But look, we could talk about all the accolades, the numbers, and stuff like that. Talk about his impact off the court. Definitely being outspoken when we needed those type of guys to be outspoken, being a mentor for so many guys. But that's my fondest memory. Like for me personally, doing the journalist grind and stuff like that, he was my dream interview. Just never got a chance to connect with him or anybody that knew him to make that happen. Like, because I wanted to get the game. I read his books in college. It helped me get better as a player. It helped me change my mindset from trying to, DMV style, just get buckets and also play defense to understanding, like, man, great players do it all. Like, great players find a way to impact the game no matter if they're scoring or not. So if you want to be a great player, that's what you have to do. And then a lot of players, especially around here, don't understand why they tap out. They hit the ceiling. When they get to a certain point, the team's like, yo, we don't need you to score. We need you to do other things. And they're like, what? They'd have no clue of how to do that. And I didn't want to be that guy. So, I literally applied what I read in his book, and it worked. It got me offers out of JUCO, whereas I averaged 27 at AAU and I only get JUCO offers. It was crazy. Far less shots. It was just crazy. But people that know the game can identify winning habits, and that's what he was a master of. I would love for these stat gurus and all that, the analytic boys, to really try to dig up all his takes. And I want to see how many blocks he averaged a game, because they didn't keep blocks there after he retired. That would change a lot. I think it'd be sick. He might. I know it's between 5 and 10 for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because it'd have been, ignorant. But the way he impacted future generations to this day, the ultimate ambassador. And I think that's what this current generation of basketball players lack compared to the older generations. They had to be ambassadors to build the game up to the point where these players today can make the money that they're making and be for the league to thrive like it's doing. And they never lost that. You see Big O and Kareem and all those guys at All-Star Weekend mingling with the current players. That's just in them because they understand they had to do that. Even, they would pull up at a grocery store in a parking lot, set up 2 courts back in the day, and just put on basketball clinics for whoever was interested in each city. That was spreading the game around when football was king, hockey was king, baseball was king, and basketball was an afterthought. They literally built the game. And that's why I despise when people disrespect those guys from the area. To me, they're untouchable. Because without them, there's none of us. Like, who knows? Who knows? They might still be trying to say, hey, man, quota for black players in America and stuff like that. We don't know. But they knocked all that down, man. It's just people don't know, man, the impact he had on Georgetown big man. Like John Thompson, that was John Thompson's vet. So John Thompson would call him to mentor Ewing and Lonzo and Dikembe Mutombo and just lead the gym and let them talk. And clearly it worked because all 3 of them got to the Hall of Fame. The way he mentored Jabbar, the way all the way to now, I smiled when Kobe said in the 2009 All-Star game, he read Bill Russell's book. And he figured out Bill Russell was like, I could score, but why I need to score when I got all these scores around me? But those scores are not strong defensively. So I'm going to do what I do best, which allows them to do what they do best. And then if fit as a team, we should win a lot of games, and they did. And Kobe finally, it clicked with Kobe. He always credited that. And you remember in that finals game against Boston when he shot horrible, but he impacted the game other way. He got like 20 rebounds. He passed the ball. He hit Artest hit the game winner. Lamar Odom had it on. Powell had it on. He was facilitating. We all know Kobe in those moments would rather put those shots up. But that's just the impact he had. He even squashed the Shaq and Kobe beef. He told Shaq, yo, go up to him and kill that. You know what I mean? Because you don't want that regret. And then, unfortunately, Kobe passed. Now, what if Shaq never apologized to him? You see what I'm saying? But that came from experience with Bill Russell because him and Wilt had a falling out. He questioned Wilt's heart after the last game of the 69 finals when Bill Russell retired. And Wilt ain't one had nothing to do with him. So for like 30 years, they didn't talk. Then they patched it up right before they did this commercial with Shaq. And then a few years later and stuff, they became friends again. And then a few years later, Wilt passed young. You know what I mean? So he understood, like, you don't want that unnecessary petty stuff on your conscience, man. That petty regret, man. Just go be the bigger man, knock that out. And Shaq did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he said something, people moved. Like I said, he was the ultimate ambassador. His knowledge, I watched his interviews a lot to this day. He has a lot of game that he put out there that I wish a lot of the younger generation would take time to just sit and watch. Because I got a saying when I'm like, OG's got the answers to the test you're taking. And he's putting it out there, but it's up to you to just go out there and just listen, have an open mind, and then try to apply it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of youngers aren't going to get it until they're older or it's too late where they're no longer playing. And then they're, damn, man, now I get it. And why does it have to be that way? You see what I'm saying? So, I was fortunate to be in basketball. We had NBA TV that came out literally when I was in middle school, and they used to put on all the old school games, like all of them. That's why I got so many VHS tapes of all their games. And we used to let's see what they look like. And we would just sit there and watch. We're like, damn, they was nice. Like, okay, like you could just see it. And that's why I understand when our generation gave them props. Now all of a sudden it's the cool thing to just be like, they weren't that good. I just don't understand the disrespect. I despise it. And them type of people I can't really take serious, man. So especially for someone like Bill Russell, who done so much for us, just not basketball wise, but for blacks all around the world, for the stands he took, even to this day. You know what I'm saying? It is remarkable that man had that and then never compromised his integrity when so many factors was trying to have him compromise that, breaking in his house, putting blood on the wall, defecating on his house, burning cross. I mean, damn, dog, he won all those championships in Boston. Couldn't he go next door and get something to eat with his family because he was black? You see what I'm saying? Like, think about that mental toll on you constantly. And, people try to say he was mean-spirited and all that. Man, I get it. Like, why would I want to embrace y'all when y'all didn't embrace me, especially with the damage we're doing? You feel what I'm saying? Like, they said Ted Williams, who never won a World Series, had a highway named after him shortly after he retired. And Bill Russell didn't get a statue till a few years ago. That just tells you all you need to know about Boston, man. You know what I'm saying? So, respecting him, all-time legend. Like Octavia said, if he's not on your Mount Rushmore, that's when I just have to walk away and just no longer have basketball conversation with you because you're clearly ignorant, don't know what you're talking about.
Well said. Octavia, let you start. I know, still beginning training camp. Pads going on, people getting fights and whatnot today around the league. But what's going on in the NFC East?
Yeah, this is an NFC East, but when you said fights, the fact that the Bills quarterback into a fight with a defense, I'm just like, what are you guys doing? But anyways, NFC East, like you said, we're still in training camp. Pads are expected to go on this week if they haven't already for most teams. So I'll go ahead and start with the Dallas Cowboys. Biggest news coming out of their camp right now is they're already very thin at wide receiver as it is, and they just got a little bit thinner. Cowboys wide receiver James Washington broke his foot after a play against Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs came down on his foot. He's going to be out 6 to 10 weeks. So that's a big blow to them after losing Amari Cooper. I think they have 2 or 3 healthy wide receivers on their team right now, with CeeDee Lamb transitioning into being the number 1 for them. Tolbert and Noah Brown are going to get opportunities to step up, and that's basically what Jerry is saying at this point. It's going to be tough for them. They can't have too many more injuries in a receiving core because right now it's CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz is going to step up, of course, as a tight end. Granted, they have some time. There's already rumors floating around that the Cowboys should go out there and grab OBJ, but obviously that's still not going to fix the immediate issue because OBJ is still a while away from returning. We know Michael Gallup is also a while away from returning with the ACL injury that he suffered last year. So they're going to start the season very thin at wide receiver. So I'll be interested to see how they're able to rework that system. The other big thing that is really going on in their camp is they're having a kicking competition. Greg Zuerlein left the team, and now they're trying out a bunch of kickers. Right now, the 2 kickers right now, they sitting at 3 days together. Both kickers are 17 of 27 combined. So that's 10 field goals that's left out there. That's a lot of points. So I'm sure they're still going to have a healthy competition with them for the remaining of training camp, probably going forward. So not too much going on in Dallas. I mean, Dak looks good, of course. Dak is talking, saying all the right things, wants to have a positive season. And, of course, it's being how he feels his first time in a while, being completely healthy, having a complete offseason to, perfect his game and not having to worry about rehabbing. So we'll see how that works out for them going forward. The New York Giants, not too much coming out of their camp as well, but they did also have an injury. I'm sorry, I just lost my place. Belton, their rookie, he actually broke his collarbone. They're not sure if he's going to have surgery yet, but it's not looking too good for him right now. They're hoping that he's going to be okay, but they're still, working out the prognosis for him. Another thing that a lot of people are talking about or chirping about from the camp is Saquon Barkley actually looks really good, having a good showing in camp right now. He looks healthy, he looks fast, he looks strong, and they're hoping for a lot from him this year. From the training camp practice today, Daniel Jones had a good showing. He was 16 of 20 with 2 touchdowns, although he did throw 2 interceptions. Offensive line wasn't 100% great. They're still doing some rotations in and out before they find a complete team, I'm guessing, or the starters for them, or who they think will be the starters for them. We know that their offensive line is always the pain point for them for the most part. And then just seeing what Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney are going to continue to do. Darius Slayton had a good Slayton had a good showing today at practice as well. So pads just came on yesterday, so they'll be getting more into that going forward. Next, I'll go ahead and go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Same thing, not a whole lot coming out of the camp, just some portions of who looks good, who needs to get a little bit better. Biggest thing that I've really heard is the wow factor of Jordan Davis. We know how big he is, 340 pounds, and he can move. It's projected that he's going to be able to be a starter, or if not a starter, immediately impact the game coming in. He's, of course, having to go against a good offensive line, so that's giving him a lot of work. So hopefully that he, is where he needs to be and starts with a bang as the season starts. Jalen Hurts, of course, the biggest question mark, because with all the other talent around him, he's probably the biggest question mark on the team. It's just his accuracy. So far, it said he's been up and down, but today was probably his best day in camp. He hit a 70-yard pass to Jalen Reagor, who's actually fighting for a spot on the team. This is a number 1 round pick who we passed on a lot of good people for. And he's now 3 years later struggling to see if he's going to make the team. He has an opportunity right now with Zach Pascal, who's been out with food poisoning. So he's been, showing some flashes of it. But is it going to be enough for him to make the team with a lot of, I would think, at least 4 people ahead of him, with Devontae, A.J. Brown, Quez Watkins, I think is a shoo-in. Of course, it's Zach Pascal, who has familiarity with Coach Sirianni from the Colts. So thankfully, no injuries or no significant injuries as of time. Tight end that was just drafted had a hamstring injury. They don't think it's too serious right now. So we'll see how that plays out for them. And last but not least, the Washington Commanders. It's already been noted that Chase Young will miss at least week 1, coming back from the ACL injury that he had last year. They're also easing Curtis Samuels back into the fold due to, conditioning. He didn't really play too much in OTAs. So he's trying to get his legs under him, and Ron Rivera not wanting to work him so hard because obviously he's a little bit injury prone. Yesterday when they had their practice, it was a little bit not a great showing for their quarterbacks, not just Carson Wentz, but also Taylor Heinicke and Sam Howell. Carson Wentz tossed 3 interceptions, while Taylor Heinicke and Sam Howell also were intercepted, during their practices. Granted, we know it's practice, it's training camp. These things are going to happen, but it's a little cause for concern just because I personally know Carson Wentz's track record when it comes to interceptions. But we all know that they're still easing their way back in. Terry McLaurin didn't spend too much time with Carson in the offseason due to contract negotiations. Once those were finally done, he was able to get some work in with him. So hopefully, for their sake, they are able to build a better chemistry. And then running back Antonio Gibson is looking good through it. He had some hamstring injuries and OTAs as well. So they're also easing him back in as well. But Ron Rivera stated that he looks good and he's optimistic for him going forward. So right now it's just about staying healthy. We know there's one preseason game this week. I believe the Raiders and the Jaguars. Everybody else's will be the following week, so they have plenty of time to still kind of go through some things in training camp. Hopefully we haven't heard of too many more injuries. There have been some other injuries reported, outside of the NFC East that have been kind of big recently. So hopefully everybody stays healthy and get ready for week 1.
Yeah, getting closer and closer. All right, we're going to check in with Ray now. He's at the ESA. For the Mystics Aces, as Washington tries to improve their place in the standings. If you guys saw Mystics Outlook this week, they had a home and pretty much back-to-back home games with Seattle, and they split that, which going into the night had them in 5th place. Got a chance to possibly move up or at least improve their chance in the standings as they go down this next stretch of tough games. After that, we'll take our first break. You're watching the Focus TV.
First quarter, they started out slow, shooting 33% from the field. Things weren't flowing offensively, and it was a little uncharacteristic of them to be. They were dedicating a lot of energy towards the refs. We typically don't see that from this team, but they turned it around. They won every other quarter for the remainder of the game and rode to the victory. And the thing that stood out to me tonight was their defensive versatility. They're able to switch pretty much everything. And the Aces are a pretty hard team to guard. They got size, athleticism, at all spots, from point guard all the way up to the center position. So the Mystics they're able to match that, just made things pretty difficult for Las Vegas. Their offense picked up in the second quarter. Ironically, it was their defense that kind of fueled that, their offense getting back on track. They're getting stops and pushing the ball off rebounds and turnovers, getting some easy ones. And then things started to settle down and flow a little bit better in the half court. Elena, she wasn't herself tonight. She had 1 point at halftime and they trailed by 2, which is a good sign for them because, we've been talking about it the whole season, how much of a different team they look like without her on the floor, with her, not giving her usual production. But they're starting to figure out who they are, regardless of who's on the floor, man. And everything with them is starting on defense. Some other things that stood out, man. I like Tasha's aggressiveness, even early on when the shots weren't falling. And we talked about her having to be a more consistent scoring threat, with her just being willing to get shots up, kept the defense honest. Then in the second half, the shots started falling. The rim kind of opened up for her. So yeah, man, that's just the next level of maturation for the game. Just kind of picking her spots, realizing when she needs to be more aggressive scoring the ball, and not just falling back on her natural tendencies to set her teammates up. Ariel Atkins, man, her defensive intensity, she went from dealing with Chelsea Gray at times to shadowing Kelsey Plum. Then in the fourth quarter, she had 2 huge defensive plays. Stuck her nose in there and drew a charge on De'Erica Hamby, and Andrew offensive foul on Jackie Young under 2 minutes left, which was kind of stopped the Aces in their tracks when they were trying to get back into things. But yeah, man, as a whole, the Mystics was just super aggressive on both ends of the floor, and it paid dividends. We know them as a pretty finesse team for the most part. Their execution is typically top notch. Tonight, a lot of times the Mystics players just put their head down and got to the rim, and good things happen because of that. Sometimes that's just what you have to do, to get the edge in games, and they did that tonight, and it paid off with the victory. It's good to see them kind of rounding into shape heading into the playoffs. Like Wilson said, the Aces are one of the best teams in the league, and the Mystics took it to them. They swept them in this season. So that just shows you what caliber team they really are. And this is it's a huge win for them.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, Carell, Kenner League update. It's I think the playoffs have begun. Then we got the championship game later this weekend. Looking forward to see who ends up there. But what do you have for the start of the playoffs?
Yeah, Kenner League playoffs began on Sunday with first round action. 5th seed Papa defeated 12th seed on point, 62-57. In the day's first game, Hakeem Hart out of Maryland led the way with 16 points and 7 rebounds. 8th seed A-Wash held off 9th seed Bulldogs 54-53. Georgetown super athletic floor Barrett Ezawiro finished with 18 points and 8 rebounds. 7th seed McClinton All-Stars dominated 10th seed Hoop Magic 95-73. Thanks to the efforts of the Grant brothers, Blazers forward Jeremy Grant, former Wizards go-go guard Jarian Grant, and Gerard Grant. And 6th seed higher level cruised to a 77-54 win over 11th seed Brain, Skills, and Guts. Georgetown 6'6" guard, transfer from USC Upstate, Bryson Mazzone posted a high of 30 points and 9 rebounds. Quarterfinal scheduled for this Thursday, August 4th, is 1st seed Class taking on 5th seed Papa at 8 p.m. And then in the second game, 4th seed Hoya Blue, they will battle 8th seed A-Wash at 9:15 in the final contest of that day. The quarterfinals continue Friday, August 5th, with the pair of games where 2nd seed Call Your Mother faces 7th seed Darren McClinton All-Stars at 8:15, and then the final game will be 3rd seed Toombs tipping off against 6th seed Higher Level at 9:15 p.m. I'll definitely be back at Georgetown this weekend for the semis and championship coverage, which begins at 2 p.m. Saturday for the semis and 3 p.m. for the championship on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely look forward to see how things play out. So if you guys have followed us throughout the Kenner League, like Cardell said, it'll be up there on Saturday. Just follow us on social media, the Focus TV, and tune in to check in on the recaps. And then obviously for Championship Sunday, be there as well to see who's going to be the last team standing at this year's Kenner League. All right, on to DC United. Like I told you guys, man, when Rudy got announced as coach, he had to wait for the paperwork to work out in terms of his work visa. That did come to pass. So look, if we go back a couple years, jumping the way back machine, there's something, a weird relationship between Wayne Rooney and Orlando City. Everyone should be aware of his heroics against them during his time as a player for the Black and Red. Like some heartbreaking things that worked in DC United's favor, but for Orlando, you don't even like hearing that man's name because it evokes just painful memories. And here's another one for you. So it's his debut on the sidelines. His team continued their trend this season. Told you guys are giving up early goals. They gave up a goal in the 9th minute in this one. Alexander Pato found Junior Urso in space, and it was a really nice chip. He chipped the shot over Romo, put it in the far post in the 9th minute to open the scoring. Rooney, after the game, talked about his team not moving the ball quick enough, just not playing with enough tempo, as he would have liked them to in the first half. Felt they did that a bit better after the break, and they did have a better second half, but it was one of those things where, sometimes you would make adjustments, and you can even start to control the game a little bit, but you're not getting the scores, so, you're almost running out of time, right? Stoppage time. I think maybe a month ago I was talking to you guys about the beauty of stoppage time in soccer. And stoppage time, it kind of came and just really burned Orlando City. So it was like maybe 6 minutes of stoppage time. And the home side, DC United would score 2 stoppage time goals to get the result. The first came in the 91st minute. Sub Kamani Smith got drafted a couple years ago. He got the ball. He played it to Ola Kamara out wide. Ola took a couple touches into the box. Then he fired a pass to a running Durkin. So a taxi was ahead of him. He put it right about where the penalty circle was. And Durkin didn't waste any time. It was a well-placed shot past the keeper. All right, cool. That's the equalizer. But there's still a little bit more time left. We've seen different iterations of DC United in the past in some of the situations where sometimes the equalizer was good enough. That wasn't the case here. Several minutes later, Martin Rodriguez got the ball near midfield. He switched fields with a beautiful pass to Kermani Smith. And again, credit to Kermani Smith. One of the things with Rooney, which is similar to Lasada, is they both don't have the issue of playing youngsters. And playing Kermani as a sub in this one, in a position he's not even too familiar with, it paid off. So Kamani gets the ball. He doesn't waste any time. He doesn't bring it down. He immediately puts it into the middle of the box and taxi beats the keeper near post. Again, right at like several minutes after, not even a full minute after that, game's over. You gave up 2 stoppage time goals if you're Orlando. It's hard enough to get road wins. You had it taken care of. You gave up 2 goals in 5 minutes. And, for DC United, I've been talking to you guys, they're still at the bottom of the standings in the Eastern Conference, so every result matters. But they definitely got this one in an exciting fashion to start Wayne Rooney's tenure as manager here. They don't have a lot of time to celebrate. They face Charlotte FC Wednesday on the road. Then they host the New York Red Bulls Saturday at Audi Field. Despite being the bottom of the standings, they're just 8 points back of 7th place Cincinnati. So if they're able to stack some W's, they got a chance. But the worst case scenario here is you either got to get 3 points or a draw. You can't take any more L's. You just can't afford to. And I'll just leave this with this quote from Wayne Rooney. The season has to start now. We've got another tough game on Wednesday. We can't rest and think that we've won a game. We have to be consistent. We have to go on a run, and the lads will rest up and be ready to go on Wednesday. So, anxious to see how that goes, and I'll check back with you next week. As for the 9-4-50 breakdown, this week, Jamal Hayward has a breakdown of Hezi after same foot stop. Again, breakdown of Hezi after same foot stop. That'll be followed by a second break. You're watching the Focus TV.
All right, today we're going to break down a move, attacking from the wing, this wing as well as that wing. It's a combination of 2 moves, but it's a very useful move as well, also attacking to the rim. So it's incorporating a same foot stop. This is somewhat like a lunge, if you look at the positionally. And at that same foot stop, coming back, heavy for a rim attack. Now, breaking down this move. I can start off a rip through, or I can start off the dribble. So if I start off the dribble and I attack here, same foot stop. I want to exaggerate this same foot stop by getting this leg all the way out, simulating a lunge. Now, when that defender is recovering to get in front of me, and I sell this lunge, now I come back with this foot, keeping this right foot still. As I come back here, now he's coming back towards me. I want to sell a jump shot, okay? So the way I can sell a jump shot is bringing my right hand near the ball as if I'm going to pick it up to shoot. So I'm here, sell it, attack the rim. You also sell with your eyes also too. So as you're bringing that hand to the ball, you lift your eyes up to the rim. So here's how it looks. Layup, same thing on this side. So instead of my left foot, I'm going right foot stop. So right foot stop here, okay? I really want to get that right foot all the way out in the run. So if I right foot stop here, I come back, heavy, bring that left hand near the ball. So right foot stop, eyes up to the rim, heavy. So here's how I look. Bam.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. I want to thank Jamal Hayward for knocking out the 9-4-50 breakdown. Colonel, it's time for rapid fire. What you got for us?
Yeah, we have the NFL today. The NFL stripped Miami Dolphins of their 2023 first-round pick. Fined Stephen Ross $1.5 million for tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. The NFL notified the Miami Dolphins on Tuesday that the team will be stripped of its 23 first-round pick, among other disciplinary measures, for violations of league policies related to the integrity of the game. Following a 6-month investigation, the league found the Dolphins, primarily team owner Stephen Ross and vice chairman limited partner Bruce Beal, violated the anti-tampering policy on 3 occasions from 2019 to 2022 in conversations with quarterback Tom Brady and the agent for then New Orleans Saints coach Sean Payton. The NFL, however, found no evidence that the team intentionally lost games during the 2019 season. In addition to the first-round pick, the Dolphins will also forfeit their 2024 third-round selection. Ross, meanwhile, was fined $1.5 million and suspended through October 17th, during which time he isn't permitted to be at the Dolphins facility or represent the team at any team event. He also can't attend any league meeting before the annual meeting in 2023. Bill was fined $500,000 and isn't permitted to attend any league meetings for the rest of the 2022 season. Just your thoughts. We're going to start with you, Octavia.
Well, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I feel like that the NFL is probably feel like they're in a good spot to do it now with everything else that's going on. All the other things that were brought up recently about teams and fines and things of that sort. But I don't put a lot of that past them. Like, I believe it all. I believe they did it all. I believe I would expect them to be fined probably more than that. So it always just comes down to, the owners kind of get off a little bit easier than the players do. Excuse me, my eye is having a heart attack right now. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. I feel like there's probably more that we don't know about, and there's probably more that they should be looking into, but I'm not surprised at all.
Wilson.
Yeah, it's same old regular NFL, inconsistent with their rulings and punishments and whatever they hand out. As usual, it feels like an owner got off light. If you really feel like nothing happened, then there should be no punishment or whatever, right? But we all know we can't fully admit what Flores was talking about. Like I tell you, Sam, just in the NFL, I just usually believe whatever they said happened typically happened. It's just a matter if they're actually going to get, if the consequences are going to match the crime, honestly, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm with y'all, man. The only thing that I'm surprised about, they try to act like that with all this drama going around, they didn't lose games on purpose, like tanking on his ex. But we all know what the ties to the owners are or whatnot, so there's only so much they're going to punish him with. But the Dolphins were Dolphins, man. Moving on, Wilson's team, San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel signed a 3-year extension worth up to $73.5 million after, a spirited offseason. He said at the end of the day, this is a business. So what changed was the communication. The more we communicated, the more we started to figure things out. Wilson, what are your thoughts on Deebo remaining in San Fran?
Not shocked. It's just been funny, honestly. How sometimes we talk about how old school stuff, like sometimes old school way is just really simple. Kyle's been saying this the whole time and nobody's been listening to Kyle. Kyle's just like, I have a great relationship with Deebo. We have a great relationship with Deebo. It's business. If you're worried about what something said, because a lot of stuff gets put out online these days, and and Kyle was talking about, I think they were talking about Trey Lance at that time, but he was talking about it with today's players. Sometimes they spend too much time on social media, and you think that place is actual reality. And Kyle was like, man, I'm not on there. Just, if you have a question, call me. Pick up the phone, call me, talk to me. Like, I don't know what's being said, nor do I care. And then secondly, why should you? So then, I watched the press today, Deebo's talking, and shocker, he's like, oh yeah, we started communicating. You showed up, you got your butt in the building, and all of a sudden you remember that the guy you spend time talking to, Deebo's like, dude calls him, he talks to coach like they're best friends in their free time. Like Kyle's at his beach house by the water talking to Deebo about just life in general. Y'all weren't leaving each other. Secondly, they said they were going to pay you. It just, to me, it was just a whole lot about nothing this entire time. And not to talk about, go too far away from it, but A.J. Brown had this tweet where he was the only one out of all these young wide receivers that got traded. Every other team sat there, watched social media go nuts, watched fans go nuts, watched talking heads go nuts, and then signed their players. So, sometimes just much ado about nothing, man. And, the old school way of simply communicating, sometimes it still works.
Octavia?
I definitely want to say that Wilson has been saying this the entire time. When they first started talking about Deebo, and now he's like, he ain't going nowhere. And I believed him, and because like we all know, Deebo's too good of a player for them to let that go. And I just think, like Wilson said, it's just more so about communication. You know, a lot of times, or a lot of the news cycle was that, you know, he didn't want to be used the way that it's projected that he's going to be used, and you know, he wants more money if his body's going to take more hits. But all in all, like I believed Wilson as well that he wasn't going anywhere. So this is no surprise to me that he is still a San Francisco 49er. So congratulations to him for getting paid, because that's all that really matters, that these players get the money that they deserve, you know. So I'm glad that they were able to work it out. I'm glad that he didn't get traded and have to come in my little division. Didn't want him over here. He could stay on over there, you know. Hopefully only have to see him in NFC conference games. So yeah, like we said, it was much to do about nothing. It was just a lot of talk. It was a lot of scrubbing of, you know, Instagram posts and him in the club saying Debo wants to be. It was just a bunch of just nonsense. And I definitely agree. They're all on social media entirely too much. I don't think people realize how much you're on social media until you actually decide to get off for a while. And then you realize, like, literally, like, my whole day is consumed in this. So I agree that some of them should probably take a break from it and do what Kyle Shanahan said, just call me if you have an issue. But again, congratulations to him for getting his money.
Yeah, it's the saying, social media is not real. The more people who realize this, the better. But that's their you know, I mean, I can't say it's their generation. Social media started when we were in college, but that's our generation. But I'm one of those guys that just won't let it consume me. It's a bunch of nonsense out there for real. And yeah, I get it. It could be annoying. Agents playing games, team playing games, putting news out there just to, you know, see you can crack things with the, you know, with the opposing team, see if it can help you or whatnot. It's all a bunch of little games being played, and fans they don't know any better, kind of, you know, just go with the flow. But got to stop thinking like sheep, man, and just sit back and relax, man. Especially, look, when it comes to the NFL, especially in the NFL, if they want to move you, it typically happens, man. They don't have no cut card when they don't want to pay you. They don't pay you. They don't waste no time. So that's one league where if they don't want you, I know, like, yeah, they let it be known and just forget about you, keep it moving. So, you know, we'll see. But staying with the NFL, man, yeah, a lot of drama in the NFL as usual. But Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson suspended 6 games, obviously, for his he was found guilty for violating the league's personal conduct policy in 3 ways: by engaging in sexual assault, by engaging in conduct that poses a genuine danger to the safety and well-being of another person, and by engaging in conduct that undermines or puts at risk the integrity of the NFL. You know, the NFL had that. The league does have the right to appeal the determination of discipline with Commissioner Roger Goodell or his designees serving as appeals officer. According to the CBA, any appeal, either from the NFL Players Association or the league, shall be in writing within 3 business days of the disciplinary officer's decisions, and any response to the appeal shall be filed in writing within 2 business days thereafter. The appeal shall be limited to arguments why, based on the evidentiary record below, the amount of discipline, if any, should be modified. Before we actually started the show, Deshaun Watson's agent, who declined a press conference when this news broke, is actually scheduled to have one later this week, I believe Thursday, last time I checked. So this can get very interesting. Back on you, Octavia. What are your thoughts on this ruling?
First and foremost, I just want it to be over. Like, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of hearing about it. And I personally, I'm probably the minority because, you know, I feel like people look at me because I'm a woman. I should feel like a specific type of way about this situation. And honestly, I personally don't. I just wish that at this point it would just come to an end, honestly. Everybody in each side has gained something out of it, to be completely honest. Unfortunately, whatever happened to those women, you know, it was a sad situation that happened to them, but most of them did get paid. Let's be honest with that. A lot of them, they decided to settle. So I wish that we would be able to settle this entire conversation. But obviously, as far as the suspension, you know, I probably did expect it to be more than 6 games. Granted, I'm not screaming either way, 6 games, 12 games, whatever. I know that the NFL was pushing for a year-long suspension. I think the biggest thing that they're concerned about is, I believe it's week 14. The Browns play against the Texans at their stadium. So they're not looking for those type of optics. So I think that's one reason why they're really pushing for a year long. And what makes it worse is a lot of people are speculating that the NFL is going to appeal. I believe they have until Thursday morning at 9 a.m. to do so. And then if they appeal, apparently Deshaun Watson camp is going to sue. And it's just going to get dragged out even further and further. And honestly, the victims in this situation are going to be continuously tormented with it. So it's just a lot to deal with. It's hard for people to try to differentiate between the football aspect of it and the actual human aspect of it for what these women have gone through. I definitely will say it is kind of weird. When the story first broke, I was just like, why do you need so many massage therapists? So it is a little bit weird in that sense. But again, none of us will ever really know what happened, and granted, like I said, I'm probably part of the minority because I personally have become really desensitized from stuff like this because I'm a firm believer that sometimes women tend to overdo it. And I'm not saying that that's what happened to these women, but it's hard because there are so many women that do. So it's kind of hard for me personally, like I said, just my own personal opinion, to kind of know which way to go, where I just kind of stay out of it. Like, if that's how you felt about the situation, that's how I felt. I personally feel like, granted, the contract was a big thing that they were talking about, how big of money guaranteed he got, and how much punishment is enough punishment. I mean, he's been dragged through the mud, like, at this point, like, honestly, like, he's never going to live this down. We know that it's always going to be talked about, regardless of what type of punishment he gets. I mean, who knows how much money he's already had in settlements, who knows how much money he's lost, probably in endorsements and all types of things. Like, he's down bad with this too. So granted, I just think it's going to come down to the NFL's optics, how they want to be looked at. They know that they're trying to increase the female fan, and they feel like that this is probably detrimental to that. I think they said a rape center in Cleveland, put out a statement about, how disappointed they are with the ruling. And then it's contradictions because I mean, now it's a woman that, kind of came down with this implication. So then it's like, which way do you really go? So at this point, I don't really even know. I just wish it would be over. But it doesn't seem like we're anywhere near that, to be honest.
No, I'll tell you just doing what most women don't do. Be fair.
I'm just like, at this point, like, what else? I mean, what else can we do? Like, I understand that that's what happened, but if I look at it from both sides, because if it happened to me, I can only speak for myself. If it happened to me and I really felt that strong about it, I'm not settling. I'm not going to settle. I want him tried in court. Like, if it's that serious. So it's hard because a lot of athletes go through stuff like this where women just want to get the money. So for me, it's hard to differentiate between the two. So I don't try to anymore. If that's how you felt, that's how you felt. I can't say either way. But I personally feel at this point, he has been, like, he's never going to live this down. Like, he's already been out of the game. I mean, people talking about the 6-game suspension, he missed a whole year already. He already missed 17 games last year, add on another 6 to this year that he's going to do minimally. How much more can we drag this out? How much more can it be this? So I just hope, even though I don't have faith that it's going to end anytime soon, I hope it does. I hope both sides, just kind of understand the situation and come to terms with it. And, granted, I can't make them do that, but it's just a lot.
No, I just respect that you fair, because most women aren't. He's guilty. He's guilty.
My thing is, there's no 100% proof. There's always going to be 3 sides to the story: his side, her side, and the truth. Nobody is ever going to know. Like, I know people were comparing this to the whole Ray Rice situation. The Ray Rice situation was completely different. We had video. We saw him. We saw him knock her out. To me, that's different. In this situation, granted, yes, it does seem weird, like I said, to have that many massage therapists. But I don't know. Like, it's hard for me because it's like, I feel like it could have been like one person was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try to do this. And then everybody else just piled on. I don't know. And I feel like I'll never know. So I really feel like I can't really give a definite answer either way. It's just like, I just wish it would be over. Like, honestly.
Wilson.
Yeah. Look, the whole situation is a lot, period. But even like with the ruling, just reading a little bit of the ruling, like it contradicts itself. You pretty much essentially said, I believe what said person was accused of, what was done. That's essentially what the ruling said. However, it's only 6 games, which goes back to what I said a little while ago with the NFL and their very weird, inconsistent rulings. Like, regardless of what happens in that league, they pick and choose when to do what, and a lot of it usually depends on public outcry. So is 6 games enough? No, it should be more than 6 games. However, the precedent that you have set, like, again, the precedent is what? Big Ben only got 6. Not even gonna get into all that. If you smoke weed, you're out for several years. Like, it literally depends on the outrage of the public.
What does it say about the people at the top?
Oh man, you already know what we all feel about the people at the top.
Because I mean, they barely talk about Robert Kraft, and this is like the same situation.
And that's the thing. So like, you got NFLPA that could be like, well, the owners, and what you gonna say back?
Hey, it's everything around me. That cream, man, it's crazy, man. But last question before we get out of here, man. Local product for Kwame Evans Jr., the number 2 recruit in the senior class of 2023, committed to Oregon today. Evans shows the Ducks of a finalist that also include Arizona, Auburn, Kentucky. He also took an official visit to UCF in late July, but his recruitment was long considered a battle between Oregon and Arizona. Oregon head coach Dana Altman made Evans a priority during the July evaluation period and was a staple at all his games all month during the EYBL Peach Jam run. Evans said, I chose Oregon because I feel like it fits me the best and gives me the best chance to go to the NBA. It felt like family since day one. I want to play for Dana Altman because he's a good coach and can help me develop into a great player. He made it feel like family. When I went up there, that was very important to me. 6'9" forward from Maryland, plays at Mount Bird Academy in Florida. Evans is ranked behind only DJ Wagner, son of DeJuan Wagner, in the 2023 class. He averaged 10.3 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 2.4 assists in 24 games with Team Durant this spring and summer on the EYBL circuit. In today's game, Evans projects as a forward, playing either a small ball power forward spot or as a big wing. He could be part of any 5-out offense or a 4-out 1-in and be effective from almost anywhere. He is the son of Kwame Evans Sr., who played at George Washington. And if you watch the Ed Myers doc, you know that was one of Ed Myers' top recruits or whatnot. So it's definitely a link to people, in the circle or whatnot. So I'm happy for young Evan Washington since he was a freshman in high school. So happy he got this out the way. But obviously, you watching the clips, Wilson. What you think about him?
Hey, looks like a modern day forward. Looks like a problem. And like you said, coming off the back of the documentary, when I heard the name, I was like, hey, I know that name. I know why I know that name. Shout out to editing and whatnot. But I know that name for good reason. And if you think about that, what he already brings to the table, I'm enjoying watching the clips. Obviously, the work being done at both ends. And I'm thinking about the way folks talked about his pops. Like, there's just a little bit. You think about sometimes just like the little leg up you get because of that. Yeah, shout out to Oregon. Smart school. And the other thing is that type of forward right now, we saw a couple of them go at the top of the draft this year. So it's kind of a thing right now. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on him. So shout out and congrats on landing at Oregon.
Yeah, same. One thing I love when I was reading, the articles about him committing is that, with all the other schools that he had in the mix, he still chose the school that was best for him. He didn't choose a school that was based off a name or anything like that. He went with the team that he felt most comfortable with, that he felt like a family. And I think a lot of players sometimes don't think about stuff like that. So I, number one, give him hats off for, taking the time to actually pick a school that he feels is going to be best for him. not the school that they think he's going to be best for. But yeah, congratulations to him. Being a number 2 recruit is a big thing. And being able to go to I would assume your dream school at this point, because I'm pretty sure he could have the pick of any school he wanted to go to. So shouts out to him for doing what he needs to do. I always love to hear, a Maryland player. We always talk about, granted, we decipher between the DMV and Baltimore or whatever you want to say. Anybody from Maryland that's going out there playing well, doing good, and putting us on the map is always a good look. So congratulations to the young man.
Yeah, I mean, he got somebody that's been through the process. It's literally his pops that can help him navigate that. And that's the difference, what I'm saying? Like, a lot of kids got to rely on outside factors. The AAU coach, you might have an agenda, some handler, old ass dude calling them bro and all that, trying to be hip, living through them corny dudes, man. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that going around, and they mess up the kid because they got in the kid to make it to a situation that makes them look good instead of what's best for the kid, man. So obviously he ain't gonna fall for that. Obviously being who his pops is, GW legend, Baltimore legend, or whatnot. So. But the kid is different from his pops. His pops is more like a traditional wing to shooting guard, smooth scorer, or whatnot. Could do it all for 3 levels. But this kid is more like a point forward. I see like 3 players in him at once. I see Lamar Odom with the point forward skill set. I see Jalen Rose, the way he can shoot in the mid range, high post, mid post, low post, all that. And then I see Tayshaun Prince with the range he has defensively. Guarded 1 through 5 and whatnot. And people forget. High school, Dominguez, even at Kentucky, he was a point forward, like he was point guard, and Tyson Chandler was the center. At Dominguez, that was sick. It was crazy, but he just changed his role when he got to the Pistons, kind of being a 3D guy. So when he got in the league, but he has that similar skill set, man, and then it's scary once he gets stronger, and he's projected to be a top 5 pick. If he had a business at Oregon, get stronger, or whatnot, look. Yeah, he has the DNA to do it. If you watch the doc, you heard his pops teammate, Nimbo Hammond, said he felt like Kwame Evans Sr. was an NBA guy, but he wasn't pushed enough. Not like pushed as a player, but pre-draft process pushed out there enough to the teams by the GW and the staff and all that, and that hurt him. All his stuff just pretty much is in this kid, but this kid is taller, bigger. He may not be the go-to scorer mentality that his pops was, but he got that in him, and he could do a lot more, man. So, like I said, I watched him all through high school, AAU, man. So I'm not shocked. Like his potential is crazy. So it's just about him maximizing that, staying focused and staying hungry, and we'll be covering him when he come to DC. You know what I'm saying? Very soon.
Looking forward to it. Well, thank y'all for tuning in this week. As always, we'll see y'all next week, same time. Who knows what'll happen in the world of sports between now and then. Like we said, you got Kennedy League this weekend, DC United this weekend. Great time to follow Focus TV, morning show included. We'll see you guys very soon. Enjoy the rest of your week.